Hello and welcome to the Adulting Well podcast. I am your co-host Joshua, and I am joined as always by
your co-host Kevin. And tonight we have on the show, I guess it's evening time, we have on the show Adam Myatt, a.k.a. the Catman of West Oakland. And apparently you are not the normal crazy cat lady, according to your own website, which makes me really happy. You're also I don't know if you're a former musician now, but you definitely have played music in bands over the years. But most importantly, you are a cat rescuer. And as people who listen to the show know, I am a pretty much adult, lifelong vegan from the age of like 19 to now. And I am an absolute animal adorer. So welcome, Adam. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is one of my cats, Booty.
Hi, Booty. Yeah. Just before we recorded, just for a little context, before my announcement about Stephen Miller getting COVID, my cat knocked down one of my drawers in here that I had pulled out to mount my new amazing microphone stand. So, so let's jump in a little bit. You obviously come from a music background, as I've seen on both bios and heard from our friends Julie, who
yeah. I mean, I live in Oakland. I've been here I've been in the East Bay pretty much all of my life, but was born in Tennessee, and then we moved to the East Bay. Holy shit! Now my cats are going nuts. But I've been in Oakland proper for like 15 or 16 years now.
Okay.
I went to college in Emeryville. It was like a trade school for audio engineering. It kind of tricked me out of like $60,000. And
wait, what's the place called?
What school was it?
It was called Expression.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
My ex.
Apostrophe.
I have an ex that taught there. That taught music.
Oh, okay.
Chris from Three Ring Records taught there too.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Three Ring put out one of my first projects from there. This band that I found through MySpace and was like, "Hey, will you guys come record with me? I can record at I go to this stupid school that we get free studio time." And they had already been there on like another class's session, which was awesome because then I was able to take their tape and like mess with their stuff before even getting to record them.
Very nice.
But yeah, it was so I went to Expression. And then I worked at just before I graduated from there, I started engineering at Sharkbite, Ryan Massey's place.
Great.
And then did did engineering and played in bands and stuff for just about 10 years before cats really started taking over my life.
Interesting. So, how'd you get involved in music in the first place? Because we talked to a lot of like grown-up punks about what they're doing now, and definitely if you're working with Ryan and going to Expressions and the people you came in contact with, sounds like you were definitely playing some kind of alternative music.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mix of. I've just always loved music of all kinds. I feel like my mom would listen to Prince and Michael Jackson and and Madonna and like that kind of like pop music. But
who
then
did she
also,
like better,
Garth
Prince?
Brooks and what's that?
Who did she like better, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Ooh, I mean, then it was probably Michael, but now it's probably Prince, just because like
kind of flipped
diving deeper into the music, and like they're both musical like geniuses in their own rights, but like Prince has got some weird shit that I'm pretty down with. But then like my dad listened to classic rock, looks like Bob Seger, loves listening to Bob Seger. We went to the Bob Seger and Silver Bullet 60th anniversary tour or whatever it was. That must have been last year.
Yeah.
So just have
probably wasn't this year.
Yeah, it was not this year.
Yeah, we were talking before the show about the Grateful Dead, and you were also you knew some of their albums.
Oh yeah, I'll just get like earworms, and we'll just like I can't not listen to it. Like, it's just like hit the end of the album and like just play either the same side or flip it and go again, or just put the same song on repeat. Much to my girlfriend's like she was like, "Are we gonna listen to the B-side of American Beauty again?" Like, like I don't know. It's just hitting. It's just hitting.
Yeah.
So right now that was.
Do you listen to it while you do stuff or while you work? Is it just on in the house?
It's a mix of, it would be like how I would start the day. Like, I'll usually start by like getting up, making coffee. If there's like dishes from the night before, I'll like put a record on. So like by the time dishes are done and coffee's ready, like that side of an album is usually done. Or I'm not a huge podcast listener. And like there's a handful that I like actively regularly listen to, and then I dip my foot into other ones occasionally. But music is just like that's what I like is background, my background noise or that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in I went to a Christian high school and played on the worship team at my church, on the youth one and the adult one and the one at school.
What's the worship team?
That's like the band that plays and like leads the church in song.
And you play? What did you play?
Depended. I've always jumped around on a little bit of everything, and just sort of like whatever I needed to be, I could usually fake my way through it if I didn't like know it.
Sure.
But yeah, drums, bass, and guitar mostly in high school, and in my like high school band. Was super lucky with the like music director at our high school, because he would give us essentially free reign of the music room on Sunday, so we could go in there and like practice. And he was able to get the school to buy a bunch of equipment like amps and like show size amps for guitar and bass and a vocal PA. Under the guise of like we'd be the pep band, and so we would take to play like during the basketball games, and so we would take like secular songs and then cover them and make them into something that wasn't as offensive to the adults around us. But that didn't last very long, because we would play and sing different lyrics, but the kids in the stands knew the original lyrics, and so they would sing those, and then the parents would hear the original words and then get upset. So then the principal was like, "Okay, you guys can keep doing this, but you either have to write original material that I can approve, or they have to be like songs that we sanction." And so we were just like, "Well, I guess we'll just write our own music then." And then that was how it like. The music bug happened. And at first I was playing guitar in our, like, we had like 4 guitar players, 2 drummers, a bass player, and 2 singers. And then both of our drummers moved away. I lived next to an Air Force base, so there was like usually a decent amount of like new people and people leaving.
Where did you grow up?
In Vacaville.
Okay. Do you know Matthew Caddy then?
Name sounds familiar.
He played in Great Apes. He's a drummer. Was in that was the punk Monster Squad? Was his
Monster Squad for sure.
So
I was actually thinking of, and he played in I think
We Built Airplanes.
Buildings and Airplanes.
Yeah, We Build Airplanes.
We Build Airplanes. That band was fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like small world. I remember seeing Monster Squad at Three Oaks, which was like the Vacaville Community Center.
Yeah.
Where like that was another thing that I think kind of helped shape music, was just that it was like you never knew who was playing, but like you were a young kid who wanted to not be hanging out at home and hanging out with your friends, and you liked going to real show or rock shows, and this is like not quite that, but still pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like. I think that was around. I never got to see the like Deftones played there.
Oh, wow.
I think Incubus played there. I remember this band Luxt, which was like an industrial band, like one of the first like industrial kind of music I ever saw, and was just like, that's fucking weird. There's like a drum machine, and but he's also got acoustic drums and electronic drums, and he sings. And it was a neat thing. I think it was a neat way to like see a lot of different music.
Yeah. Well, there was great shows up there. I mean,
well, everybody would play in Vacaville, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you guys.
Wait, have you ever been to the Woos?
I vaguely remember. I was more of a Scandia kid.
Okay.
They had a big arcade.
There was a good Scandia up there.
Because we had a Scandia because we hail from Roanoke Park, or I do.
Oh, okay,
and we
sure.
have a Scandia there.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely had some good times up there playing shows. There was like everyone. It's always seemed like a bunch of kids would show up. Everybody was super appreciative. You know, it was just like such a, you know, it was like its own good little scene, like stuck between the Bay Area and Sacramento. You know,
exactly, and which was kind of great because they were enough of a difference that like sometimes like a bigger band or a band that was like on their way to something could still like do 2 shows in the Bay or 3 shows in the Bay Area.
Yep.
With Stack there and
totally. So what was it like going to Christian high school for you?
I mean, for the most part, it was fine. I looked at music as like the way out of most of the shit because it was just sort of like I could like you're gonna let me get out of class to go play music, like I don't care what you're gonna have me play, like I'm happy to do that. Like
sure.
I was with the church with playing at my parents' church, it was like this is like I get to play music. There's other people here who are excited about playing music, like. This is just, it's practice, and I don't know, it's still fun. Like, these people are all nice enough, and at school, we had, like, Bible class every day. We did, but then we had, like, what did we call it? It was kind of like a worship service, or like where all of the high school would come, and there would be, like, a speaker, and then the band would play, and
nice.
Yeah, and that was... Sometimes there'd be like the guys who rip phone books in half and shit, or
yeah.
We'd take like the entire day.
That's what Kevin's gonna do someday.
Training day, like some of that was a little like just like a little weird. I remember one of those days we ditched. We got like 6 of us to ditch, and we went to the city to go to Amoeba and to go to Virgin Megastore when that was still a thing, and just like walk around and go like hang out in San Francisco because like. And it was actually pretty funny because a couple of us had permission from our parents because they were like, we know you've gone through this at school for the last 3 years, and we know you've gone through this at church. Like, you get it. Like,
yeah.
Like, it doesn't need to be beaten in that much more. Like,
you know what's fascinating about you to me right now is I'm seeing a trend of, so you're at the school, you play in the church, but you get to have a place to practice. You're going to this art school, but you get a recording studio where you can record whatever you want. Like totally. You seem like someone that kind of turns situations into win-win.
I guess I try. With expression for sure. It was like that was 2004, so it was like kind of a different time, and I was like 18, so I was just like, yeah, fuck it. What's $70,000? I don't know what that's going to look like.
Right.
And my parents will co-sign for it. No big deal. And then now it's like, oh wait, but that's going to cost me like $130,000 over the course of 30 years or whatever my loan is. But right. But yeah, we got to have I think it was 8 hours a month of like personal time. So me and my buddy Glenn, he was in the same kind of boat as me of just graduated high school, wanted to do music, thought engineering and things was going to be like how he could do that. And so we would team up and record bands together. Just so we'd have 16 hours to spend on a project.
Who were the bands? Just your bands or your friends' bands? Or
it started out as just like bands we'd hit up through MySpace in that time, and then it got to a point to where it was like, well, the only time we can have is from midnight till 4 a.m, and there's no band who can do it this month. So I don't know. We both kind of make music. We should just like make our own shit and like make shit in the studio and see how that works. And we both kind of like had M-boxes and like he had a keyboard sampler thing, and I played guitar and drums and started noodling on keyboard. So it was just sort of like, we have this thing, we might as well take advantage of it while we can. We would see the kids and when I say kids, it was from like 18 to 35, of like, they were like, I don't know, like I'm 23 and I've lived at home for 5 years since graduating. My parents are just like, this is your last chance, get the fuck out. And we were just like, and so they wouldn't book the time, like, and they wouldn't use the resources that they had at their disposal. And we were just like, you're fucking crazy I mean, I guess if your parents are paying for this, that's fine. But like, we're going to use this as much as we fucking can.
Of course.
While we can.
It's so expensive to get studio time like that.
What's that?
Like actual studio time is really expensive.
Yeah, for sure. And getting to get real experience. But I think our first band was this band, Said the Gun to the Girl, which was a Vacaville hardcore screamo noise rock band, which like they had one song that I had heard that I was like just floored by and was like, I fucking love this. And then they had a lot of shit where I'm just like, this isn't my jam, but I love that song. So like, and I feel like in getting into engineering more full time, you kind of had to have that, like, I love this song, or I love this part of this song. Mm-hmm. Like, so, and like, I have to work on this for 10 hours a day or whatever. So you got to find something in it that you like. You might not love the music, but you're getting paid to help create someone else's like artistic vision. Nice. And so you have to try to be excited.
Would you do some producing in there too? Like,
I mean, like technically yes, but creditly no. It all kind of mishes and mashes together to me. Where it's like some people would see that and like realize that I was like bringing ideas or shit to the table that they were liking and going with, and some people it was like, no, that I have a vision and this is what I want. And so sometimes people were open to it, and those were always the more fun sessions. And I got to do sessions with friends where that was like, cool, you trust me and you trust my ear and I love your band and I wouldn't want to do something that isn't your band. The Form and Fate dudes, that was like one of the first
That bands. Was the Three Ring guys?
The Three Ring band, yeah.
I think I have some of those CDs around here somewhere.
And their music is like post-rock,
yep.
Godspeed, ISIS, Explosions kind of stuff, and I loved Mogwai and Godspeed and all those bands like in high school. So then like that was kind of what we would do at Expression. It would be like, okay, cool, we did this weird fucking hardcore screamo band, don't want to do that again, let's try something else. Right. And then the next band was this band Port O'Brien, that they were like a Berkeley, San Francisco band.
I remember them.
They kind of had a moment, and we were like just before that moment. Like I remember we recorded essentially an album that wound up being demos, because then they went to Tiny and recorded like a full length when they got like a small deal, which that was cool. Yeah. But we didn't get to record that, so I'm not bitter. Like,
well, so you're kind of like, you know, you're telling, you know, not totally time specific, but sort of the story of how you got to where you are now.
Totally.
You also, because you got into like the cat rescue stuff from photography, and you've also done some film stuff too, right?
A little bit. Yeah. That stuff is more like recent, and by recent within the last like 2 or 3 years of shit. I'm like, how do we get to this point in time? Well, so went to Expression, graduated from Expression, started working at Shark Bite, had some friends who they went on tour and they started taking pictures of cats on tour, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. So when one of my bands, we were called James and Evander Stoner Bummer Pop. So it's just like not like music to like get the club going, but it's like music to do dishes to. Like and stay like kind of upbeat, but not like upbeat. You're not trying to party. You're like sad, but you have shit to do. So,
yeah. Okay.
So just like sad boy electro music, like wow, we really liked the Postal Service. Like,
okay.
But so one of that band went on tour. I was like, oh, I think we did a run just like West Coast. It was like Sacramento, Portland, Seattle, and then we came back down, did a show in Oakland and LA and San Diego. And on that trip, saw Cats on tour. So I was like, well, Ryan did my buddy Ryan in this band Summer of Glaciers. Ryan would take pictures of Cats on tour. I guess I'll do that too.
Nice.
And I took some pictures and I was like, this is silly. Like it was right as like iPhones were, and like everybody had a camera in their pocket. So it was really simple and easy. And then we got back from that tour. Glenn and I were living separately from each other. And then this, I guess, was 2010, 9 or 10. And then we moved into the house that I'm in now. In 2011, and then it was like, well, we're not on tour, but I keep seeing cats everywhere, so this is not Cats on tour, but Cats not on tour is not a funny tag or like interesting, like it just doesn't make sense, or just didn't. It was a stupid joke to me, but like wasn't a joke to anyone else. They're just like, what is this guy talking about?
Right.
So I'm in West Oakland. 10 years ago, it was a bit hairier.
Just a little.
Just a little. I mean, and even like we're like a part of a wave of gentrification, like 2 or 3.0, really. I think. But it's been interesting to see that process over the course of the last 10 years. But yeah, so we just saw Neighborhood Cats. I tried to get that account. That was already taken. And then it was just like, all right, well, these are hood cats. Like people would call this the hood. But it's like, they're just like neighborhood cats. They're streetwise. They're street worn. Some of them, they can come and go. And it was just sort of like this is kind of funny. Hood cats, haha. And then it just snowballed over the course of, now I've been in cat rescue for almost like it's 9 or 10 years, which is awesome. Like, I mean, I found a litter of hood kittens before we were about to go play some shows in LA. I emailed this woman, her name's Ann Dunn. She had started this organization called Cat Town that I'd found out through the internet. Initially they were a foster-based organization that specialized in like special needs and seniors and occasionally under-socialized kittens. But I knew at some point I wanted to foster for them. Like actually I did the first Hood Cats calendar, and the East Bay Express, which is like the weekly paper here. They found out about it. And like that, I wanted to make 100 calendars, raise $1,000, and like, that was like right as crowdfunding and Kickstarter and that sort of thing was taking off. And so I took and posted photos online for almost a year, and then some friends were like, can you like do something with this? Like can you make merch, or like what can you make a calendar? Like what can you do with some of these photos are kind of good. And I'm just like, yeah, some of them are, but really it's cats on the internet. So what else is there? Like, what else should there be?
Right.
And I'm a broke stoner musician. Like, I'm not going to invest money that I don't have into cat merchandise. That sounds crazy.
Little did you know.
Yeah, for sure. So I was like, well, as crowdfunding and Kickstarters and that thing was taking off, it always felt kind of weird to do it around music, which I think is a wrong mindset, because I think it's not wrong. It's just sort of whatever you're comfortable with. And we were never comfortable with like trying to do the crowdfunding of our music thing. But now I'm kind of like, why wouldn't, if that's like an opportunity on one hand, it seemed kind of like begging strangers on the internet for money. But at the same time, like what is playing a show but begging strangers at this bar for money? Like please listen to me and please stop talking and buy drinks and come buy our merch.
Totally.
So I set out, I wanted to raise $1,000, make 100 calendars. If people wanted it, great. If they didn't, no big deal. Like I'm not going to be out anything. And then by the second or third day, 100 of them had sold, and I hit the goal, and was just like, all right, well, like if I'm going to make 50 more or 100 more if anybody wants them. And a few more people ordered them. The East Bay Express heard about what I was doing, emailed me or interviewed me and called me the Catman of West Oakland. And I'm just like, oh shit, this is me now? Like, I guess I'm the cat man. What does that mean? And at that point, it didn't mean, I was just like, I don't know, I'm a music guy. Like, cats just happened to find me, and I still kind of feel that of just like, I never set out to be a cat fucking person or influencer or whatever you want to label it. And that is like, I get people who ask a lot of just like, how do I build my audience? Like, well, I want more followers. I'm just like, you're talking to the wrong guy. Like, I make cat butthole t-shirts and balls, like 3D printed cat ball keychains. Like, I am not everyone's cup of tea. If you're trying to like amass people, like I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. But like, if I'm your weird, strange cup of tea, then you're going to be in good company. But not everybody's down with buttholes and weed jokes and garbage cats. Like, so yeah, found this litter of kittens and hit up Ann. She helped me get them off the street, taught me a little bit about TNR, which is trap, neuter, return, which is like what we want to do with all of the feral and stray cats that are outside, because they're the ones that's essentially like ground zero of the shelter pet population. Like, there are people who surrender pets and that sort of thing happens, but it's really, a lot of it is stray animals being born outside and being brought to the shelter, like what I would have done with those kittens. But I reached out to her. Cat Town was able to place the kittens, or take the kittens and get them adopted. We got a bunch of the adults spayed and neutered, and a few of the adoptable ones into the system as well. Nice. And then it was just sort of like, I was like, cool, I did my part here in my neighborhood. That's cool. Like, and that's just sort of like seemed where it was going to simmer. I actually got like a really weird email from this woman that she had brought with her, who was like a fucking trapper extraordinaire. Like I always say that you have to be a little bit crazy to be a trapper. Can
you talk about that a little bit? Because I just found out about this on the last pod, because we only interview cat people now. So on the last podcast, I found out. So what the deal is you go out and you catch wild cats and you neuter them and then let them back out into the wild, right?
Mostly, that's the general idea.
But I have cats, and when I think about trying to trap one of my cats, it's just a nightmare. It's a trauma for both of us every time I have to clip their nails or do anything like that.
Yeah, some cats are really fucking smart, and they know how to avoid the trap. Like, it's
of course they do.
Like, it's lava.
What is it? Like a box with a stick and a piece of cheese inside, or
that's a drop trap. A regular trap is, I mean, it's a long box. I mean, I can pull one out and show you.
No, okay, so it's like a trap you put out, and the cat goes in it and gets trapped.
There's a gate or like a trip mechanism that's like on the back 3/4 of the trap. The cat has to go all the way in, and you put all the treats down here on the end. Then as they come in to get the treats, they step on that trip trap, and then it closes the door behind them. There's also the fucking Wile E. Coyote box on the stick with a string for the really smart guys who, like, the traps are, I mean, a cat can fit in it and move around a little bit, but it's still like, this is different. Like, they get inside and they know that something is different. So with the drop trap, it's a little less confining and a little bit easier. You can put more treats in. If there's, like, say you have 6 cats at a colony and you've already fixed 5 of them and you need that last one, you're not just going to keep setting a trap, because cats will just keep going in and eating it. So you set up this big drop trap, wait for the guy that you need, pull the string once they're in.
Whoa. So you're there, like, hiding out in the down in the bushes.
Depending on the cat, you could be like 30 feet away, depending on how long your string is. I've had it set up to where it's like they're at one end of the driveway and I'm at the other, and like I can still see it. Then once they get in, you just pull the string. Then you have to transfer them into a trap, and it's a little more elaborate than
Thank you.
Just
You have to watch The Cat Rescuers, Joshua.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
You do. I mean, they've got both types of traps that they show on that film. And I would say the one that Adam is describing now it's an experience, not only probably to do it, but to watch it. It's crazy because they use it for the ones that are the most difficult at times to catch. And you got to be really fast. And one of the women on there kept saying, this one knows me. She knows me. She just peeped me in my car. And you watch the cat like back out of the trap when she sees her.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, they're super smart. I mean, but those like Wile E. Coyote style traps are nuts. And they get super upset. They're a little flatter too, so they're like kind of like squished down a little bit because if they have any height, they're smart enough to jump out of it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Cats.
But yeah, so learned a little bit about TNR. This lady who came out and showed me and was with Ann wound up writing an email that was about me, meant to send to Ann, like talking shit about me, of just sort of like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he doesn't know shit. He doesn't really want to help. He doesn't really want to learn. And she sent this letter to me.
Dude, that's Big Cat Rescue coming at you.
And then immediately, or like 2 minutes later, realized what she did and sent me another email that was like, holy shit, I'm so sorry.
She must have felt terrible.
I just like let my emotions get the best of me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, lady, you're not wrong. Who the fuck am I? I am no one, but who are you? You are also no one. Like, we are all no one. And like, I am trying to learn. I'm trying to do something that's helpful and like, but like, have some perspective. Because like, I bet there's like some kids around here that are hungry. So like, you fucking getting upset about this dude who's like, your anger, I understand. And honestly, from being in this long, like the more I'm in it, the more like feral I get. Like the more like, I don't want to fucking deal with people. I just want to be with my cats. And like,
I hear that.
And like this quarantine thing, while kind of frustrating to not get to see all of my friends, like, I don't know, me and my girlfriend and my cat, like, this is like
you and me, buddy.
Like,
you and Joshua are simpatico on this.
Just
right
loving
here.
it. Yeah.
I'm dying. I'm like such a type A, like outward.
Kevin is like a super connector.
Yeah, I see somebody that I haven't seen in a long time randomly at the grocery store, and my inclination is to run over and hug them as quickly as I can. I can't. And then I don't even want to say hi because it's kind of disappointing too. I'm like, but you know, I just think so. I feel like this happens with a lot of people, and especially in whether it's dog rescue or cat rescue, in sort of the rescue community, and what you're doing specifically there in West Oakland when you're doing the catch and neuter and release. You just kind of fall into it. It's like you don't even know you quite have a heart for it, and then something happens, and it's like this almost like awakening of this part of you that was like asleep or something. And like I feel like I hear this story from people, especially the ones that have been incredibly like, their work has been incredibly fruitful in helping animals. They're like, I don't know how. I just, like I saw this litter of cats and then bam, that was it. From that day on, this was my life's calling. And it's like, we try to talk to people in the podcast that are doing really positive things. And I can't, for someone that's worked with people as long as I have, and, done a lot of animal rights stuff over the years, like this work that you're doing, that Hannah Shaw is doing, that a bunch of other people are doing, the cat rescuers are doing, is like, it has direct impact on these animals and your surroundings. Like, because you're not being overrun by feral animals when you're neutering these cats. And so, before we move on with more of the story, because there's a lot more, obviously, I just want to just do a quick pause and say, you kind of fell into this, but fuck, awesome.
No, it seriously is insane. would never in a million years have thought, like, if you told 16-year-old me who's in fucking like pants with fire on them from Hot Topic, like, hey dude, you're gonna open the first cat cafe in America, and then you're gonna take cats' balls for like fun, like, and host like Catman bingo like all across the country,
Yeah.
and yeah, never in a million years was that the idea.
So, I mean,
What
you
is
touched
that?
on it. So let's talk about Catman Bingo, and then let's talk about the
Sure.
cafe.
Yeah, so essentially, how the timeline of it is like those first kittens, had that interaction with the crazy lady, forwarded that email to Ann, and was like, "Hey, I think this was meant for you. What's up with this lady?" Like, and then Ann called me and like let me know what that situation was a little bit, and like I was saying, it like this, and like you guys are saying, like, this work is not easy. It's hard. You see a lot of terrible shit, and when you've been in it for as long as some people who have been in it, 20, 30, 40 years, like, this is not new. It's like new to a lot of people, but it's not new. And like the people that have been in it forever have just been like burning, like, and like it's exhausting. And so
Yeah.
I took that and was just like, I know this isn't coming from a place of like, or like, yeah, just was like slightly offended, but was also just sort of like, but like, I understand, especially now, like burnout and fatigue and just like questioning people and like what their motives and shit are. Like, yeah, it's a weird world, but luckily Anne was amazing, and like we just clicked on a weird level. We both just had like a similar outlook towards life, towards Oakland, and loved this town, and wanted to help do something to make it better. And I think Hannah has said a lot of like, somebody, like, it's like everybody says like, oh man, somebody should do something about that, like, and then you have that awakening where you're like, wait, I am somebody,
right? Right.
Yeah.
So like, what, like, I guess it should, like, if I can figure out how to make the help, like, I should try to help. And
It's a terrible feeling. It is. I hate it, because if I do have it, I have to do it, and I just try to avoid having it as much as possible.
But so Ann and I emailed back and forth a little bit through the rest of that summer. That was when I was still like really busy with music and recording and that sort of shit. And that was, I think there was the first cat video festival that happened in Oakland. Or it wasn't it was the first one that happened in Oakland, but I think it originated in like Michigan or
Cat Festival. So that's just
Cat Video Fest.
Oh,
so,
Video Fest. Okay.
Like they closed down Grand Avenue, and on the Great Wall they projected fucking like 200 feet tall cat videos.
Oh,
like,
amazing!
Like an hour and a half long program, but it was like a day, afternoon long, like hangout. There were bands and stuff that were playing that were terrible, because like if you're a cat band, odds are you're going to be pretty bad. And there was like a guy that was like, his music was about ducks, and they were just like, I don't know, fuck it, animals, like. And I think I DJ'd both of them, and have like a catalog. Now it's like 4 hours long of like cat music. So some of it is awesome. So much of it is terrible.
What's the most famous cat song?
I mean, Love Cats, The Cure is a pretty famous
okay,
one. Kitty, Presidents of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Stray Cat Strut, Cat Scratch Fever. Those are like the big ones.
Thank you.
But there's all sorts of fucking weird cat songs. Grateful Dead has a cat song, China Cat, I think. It's a pretty good song. But then, yeah, so we'll get there. So Yeah, there was the cat video festival. I saw Ann. We hung out and talked. I met Megan Lynn Cott at that. She's going to be on your guys' podcast next week, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Podcast was like 1 or 2 before mine.
Yeah.
And her husband Justin, and they're both amazing people.
Totally.
Then so Ann and I like kind of were like, oh yeah, you're awesome, I'm awesome. Like we like let's figure out how we can collaborate. Like what else can we do? And I just had a friend from high school who moved to Japan and was going to be there for 6 months and was like, hey friends, if you want to come to visit, like here's the calendar, just let me know when you want to come. And I was like, holy shit, I've always wanted to go to Japan, like this is my one opportunity. Then like that was like the birth of cats starting to like be a thing in my life, and went down a rabbit hole of there's these cat islands that are in Japan where it's like 80 people live on the island and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of cats are on the island. And I was like, I went there. That sounds fucking amazing. Holy shit, there's these things called cat cafes. Like, what the fuck is that about? And there's hedgehogs or hedgehog cafes and owl and penguin and like all sorts of random. They got fucking weird, crazy, amazing shit over there. But so
you can't swear on this podcast.
I'm adulting terribly.
Broke that rule already.
But so I met up with Ann to have coffee one day and was just like, man, have you ever heard of these like cat cafes? Like there are these things in Japan where people go and they pay money to hang out with cats. Like that seems insane. And I had done a little bit of research. This was like November, December 2013. And I'd done a little bit of research, and there was some guy in Boston who had like tried to start one, but never really got off the ground. Mm-hmm. And I was in talking with Ann, she was like, I've always wanted Cat Town to have like a brick and mortar facility. And I was just like, well, yeah. And if we could do a cafe with like adoptable cats, because I don't think like, I think having the same cats over and over seems like it would be weird. And like, I don't know how the cats would feel about that, or how or if like the American audience would like take to that. But if we had like a brick and mortar place where you could get coffee and hang out with a cat and potentially adopt that cat, like, do you think that could go over? And she was like, yeah, I think that could go over. And I was like, I kind of think it could too. Like, I can try to figure out what it's like to run a cafe. You already have like the infrastructure of your nonprofit and like this team of people who are fucking crazily well experienced with cats. I don't know much about cats, but I'm willing to learn, and I don't know shit about running a cafe, but I'll try. And it just sort of like, it's just quickly snowballed. Like we had that talk in December. It was like just before Christmas. And then while I was tabling and like selling the Hood Cats merch and the calendars and that sort of stuff, I just sort of bounce it off people of like, hey, have you ever heard of this idea? Like I'm working with an organization. We're thinking about trying to do this. Would that be something you'd be willing to support? And just got nothing but positive feedback about it. And then the East Bay Express heard about that because one of the reporters was at an event, and I talked to him for a minute, and they were like, hey, can we do a story on this for our pets issue? And we were like, yeah, and we'll like use that as like our launching point for like a crowdfunding campaign around this this like fucking crazy idea. And it was, that was like supposed to come out. We were going to launch on like January 29th. And like seriously, like a week before, I got like a email from a couple of different people that were like, holy shit, this isn't you, right? And it was like about Kit Tea, which was like the San Francisco cat cafe, and they like launched their website like and like did a PR blast of like, hey, we're bringing the America's first cat cafe to California, like the week before us, and we were just like, son of a bitch.
Oh.
Like, of course, somebody else is also thinking about this. Like, that does not surprise me at all. But the fact that it's in our backyard and that they did it the week before us, and that they didn't have like to me, it just made sense to be like, hey, we're gonna do this. if you want it to happen, here's the website. But they were just like, hey, we're going to do this. Like, we're going to launch our crowdfunding campaign in a couple of months. Like, sign up for our mailing list and we'll let you know when. And I'm just like, you missed a huge like call to action for that first wave of like PR, like not like publicity, and you're in our backyard. Damn it! Like that was super frustrating. But it didn't stop us. And then it kind of turned into like they announced, and then we announced the next week, and then Portland and New York, and there was a couple of people in Southern California, and then it kind of turned into like the cat space race of like who's going to open first, which I thought was pretty funny. And yeah, it was just really crazy how it all kind of came together, because like our coffee partner, this company called Bicycle Coffee, also based here in Oakland, they reached out and were just like, hey, this sounds awesome. If you have any questions, or like if you need a coffee provider, we'd be super interested in like doing that, like, or partnering in that way. But even if you just have any questions about running a cafe or like business plans or whatever, like let us know. And like those guys have all become like more extended cat family and like Oakland family. And the recording studio I worked at was actually just down the block from them in Jack London Square. So it was like this nice. It just all this like synergy of like perfect storm of like inspiration, timing was right. Oakland as a city, I think, was the right kind of place to like be open to something kind of weird and not quite normal. Whereas San Francisco is like, you have fucking insane rent, and the red tape you have to cut through there's just a lot. Not that we didn't have that stuff with opening Cattown either, but we just really lucked out in that, like, once people learned the mission and like learned that it was like for a lot of people, the Cat Cafe is that like coffee and is like the business, and cats are kind of the shtick. And we always saw it as like, no, coffee is the shtick. Like, what kind of cafe do we need to make to qualify as a cafe? And really, we just want to start adopting cats and like help decrease the shelter population. And yeah, we opened in October 2014. We did a pop-up in April 2014, March. Yeah. And that was like just at like a little art gallery in downtown Oakland. We had 3 kittens that got adopted. It was just sort of like proof of concept. Like, can we do this? Like, this is such a silly idea. We'll use this as like the end cap of our crowdfunding campaign. Like, we'll actually just do it for 2 days. And it was weird because we didn't hit our fundraising goal, but we were able to, because Cattown was a nonprofit, we were able to get other grants and other donors and like things outside of just the crowdfunding thing. It was another like huge piece in, I think, making it a viable business, or organization that like could potentially sustain. So that was all helpful, and really it was just essentially like a huge marketing ploy to get people to know more about the serious work that Cattown's doing. So it's like, yeah, we made like essentially a miniature downtown Oakland in a little 1,200 square foot space that like, it's like Catzilla's happening all the time. So it's like cats crawling up the Tribune Tower, and we had some like the Port of Oakland cranes and the Federal Towers. We've got like a Victorian like West Oakland house, and it's just, we were just sort of like, how can we make essentially like a mini version of Oakland for cats to run around in? And we did it, and it was crazy.
That's so fun. I haven't been there. I haven't seen it.
I'll send you guys some photos, because it's definitely.
We'll post them on the site.
What's going on with it now? With COVID and all this stuff.
So that was 2014, and then at the end of 2016, I actually stopped working for Cat Town just because it was like I felt like I was like a firefighter essentially. Like I was supposed to be in charge of the cafe, but it would wind up being like what is going on today. So I stepped out and have now been jobless, but it like cat manning.
Sure. Yeah.
Cat manning for like 4 years now. But my friend Sabrina runs the cafe.
Nice.
Her company's called RAR. They make like raw cat food.
Oh, good.
She had a space in downtown Oakland that when it was closing, or like her building got sold, and she got evicted, and we were already selling her stuff, and it was just like, oh, this is a natural sort of like shift.
Perfect.
And we like after the first year, we expanded. Actually, that was even under the first year. It was like within the first 3 or 4 months, we had our side of the space, and there was a tattoo shop next door to us. And like, I think it was 4 months after we opened, they closed, and the owner was like, hey, our building owner, who was amazing, was like, would you guys want this space? I'll give it to you at the same rent that they're paying and just tuck it into your lease.
Nice.
So we were like, we fucking need the space like so badly. So we expanded into that. And now they did a bunch of fundraising last year or 2 years ago to like fully build it out. And now it looks like a state of the art, like shelter space with,
Amazing.
I think it's 9 or 10 separate isolated rooms that they can have a bunch of cats in of varying degrees of like super friendly and ready to go to the next door, to the main cat zone, or these kittens have ringworm, but we can take care of them here because like we have the isolation, or like seniors who are like super shut down and don't want to be in the big space, but are still friendly enough to get adopted. And like, it's just sort of like figuring out ways to adapt to all the different types of cats. Like there's a bunch of different types of cats. There's not just one cat. And figuring out how to be able to help as many of them as possible. And so COVID has been a nightmare for them too. They were closed for, I think it was 3 or 4 months. And now they're open on, by appointment, adoption scheduled appointments during the week, and then open to the public on Saturdays and Sundays. And me and my girlfriend Erica I'm still friends with a lot of those people, and of course still love and support the work that they're doing. We've been doing like regular photography volunteering for them, just sort of like whatever way I can help you. That at first, once I stopped, I was like, I don't want to like be like, it's like, okay, my little baby bird is like I don't want to like insert myself and be like, but it was a really weird moment of like, I did this thing that is like really like a really big footnote on my like resume of like what I've done in the cat rescue world. Yeah. But to not be actively a part of it now feels really weird, and like, but wanting to still be a part of it, but not like feel like I'm just like, oh, well, what are you guys doing now? Oh, you're doing that? Like, I like not want to be that guy. Right. So it's just taken a little bit of time. But now Ann actually, she just left at the beginning of the year and is now the director of Oakland Animal Services.
Oh, wow.
Which is amazing. And honestly, when I met her, the shelter director then was leaving, and I was like, well, is that something you could do? Like, you seem like you have your shit together for this. And she's like, I don't have my shit together for this yet. And I'm like, okay, like, I bet you will. And then it just took some time, but she's there now, and it's awesome. So it's just really good to have someone.
We're gonna run up on the hour soon. I want to make sure we get to talk about anything you're doing now.
Yeah. I mean, we know you're cat manning. You've got what, 68,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not that weird.
I guess it's not that weird.
Cat people love cat people, you know?
For sure. And like I said, I feel like I've never tried to, and this goes back to like my mentality and outlook towards music too, of just sort of like bands would be like the parallels of these worlds are so fucking bizarre, because like fans would be like, oh man, like, do you think this is a good song? Like, is this going to be a hit? I'm just like, dude, I have zero control over that.
Yeah.
Do you like this? Yeah, I fucking love it. Well, then hang on to that feeling as much as you fucking can.
Exactly.
Because like that's all that matters. Like
totally.
like if what you make resonates with people, awesome. Like, but and you can do things to like hopefully get it to a bigger audience and give more people chances to resonate with your stuff. But like you do not have control over that, really.
It's absolutely true.
And I remember I remember one of the worst and most amazing shows I ever played was at Bottom of the Hill. And that was like one of the places when I was a kid, I was like, man, I saw so many cool bands here.
For sure.
Hopefully I get to play here one day. And then I've played there like a dozen times and I'm like, yeah, this is fine. But this show in particular was like, there was like 8 people in the crowd. And it was like a Tuesday night. But like we're playing one of our songs and I see these people that I for sure do not know singing along. And I'm just like, whoa, that's fucking weird. Like, and amazing.
Yeah.
And then as we're tearing down, the band after us like gets on stage and they're like, the drummer's like, please don't leave. And I'm like, lady, like all of our stuff is here. Like, where are we going? Like, have you never played a bad show? Like, this is just like part of it. Like,
but so there's Bottom of the Hill.
in the cat world, there's all these conventions. And, it's a whole scene and community. And it's funny because there's like the headliners. There's like Jackson Galaxy and Hannah and
Jackson Galaxy.
And like that kind of like upper echelon of the world. And then there's like guys like me who are just like, I don't know, I'm just like a guy and I do this stuff and it resonates with people and that's cool. But I was never like, how do I get an audience? I want to educate people. I want to do these things. I'm just sort of like, I'm doing this thing and living this weird life. And if you're along for the ride, cool. But if you're not, that's fine too. Like it's like, I've definitely made some, merch and stuff and made some donations to orgs that like, there's some, Trumpian people in the cat world too who were not happy. There's this guy, his company's called Cat Magic Punks. His name's Ryan. I'll email you guys him because he's got this logo that's Cat Lovers Against White Supremacy, and like dude, this is amazing. I bought your t-shirt. I made it a back patch for a jacket. I bought another t-shirt. I want a pin. Can we make pins? Like if I manufacture these, can I send you half of them and then like we can both sell them and fundraise?
Amazing.
And he was like, absolutely. Like there's and that like set some people off. I've definitely like another weird little tangent into my world of cats was like in 2016 there was the Trump Your Cat meme. And like hashtag, and I made that. It was weird. Like I remember the day that it kind of like went viral. It was when it was on like the Rachel Maddow show. Like she mentioned it, and then my phone just fucking blew up. I followed and like did that for probably like 7 or 8 months, but then like wasn't smart enough and felt weird about trying to like monetize it and make merch and sell shit with it.
Right.
And then just started feeling really gross about having to keep up with like all of his shit. Cause the deal was like, you brush your cat, you take the hair off the brush, pat it into a little toupee, put it on their head, find some asinine quote, and then post it on the internet.
Right.
I remember it.
Yeah. And it just, I just started feeling real gross about it.
For sure. Yeah.
And then I remember reading a quote or an interview or something with Will Ferrell around like him playing Bush and feeling like he like kind of normalized that a little bit and like not good about that. And I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't want to do this anymore. This is too weird.
Right.
Like, this is too gross. Too. And I mean, look at where we are 4 years later.
Look where we are.
Yeah, this is like, it's a shit show.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
On that note, though, we're at the hour,
right.
So we're gonna have to get you back on, I think, soon. Do you want to talk about any projects you're working on, right now?
Sure. So because of all the cancellations of events and stuff, I started a mail club at hoodcats.org.
Okay.
Nice.
And you can get it's like Stubbs' postcard stickered club. So you'll get like a postcard that's got like 1 to 5 stickers on it.
Nice.
Or a catnip, Booty's Catnip Club. Booty, you guys met earlier.
Yep.
He loved catnip, and so it's like just like a simple way to take like some like monthly support. Like I like I said, I've lived in this house for the last 10 years, and now my landlord is like trying to figure out ways to evict me, and which is awesome to deal with in today's current climate. So, and on paper, I'm a terrible potential renter because like I'm self-employed, I don't have stable income.
Yep.
So started the Catman's Home for Haggard Hood Cats as a way to sort of be like, look, I have this much that I know comes in every month, and here's like my merch sales from all the dumb stuff I make with my friends. And so that's like essentially how I am surviving, and
that's so fun though to get stuff in the mail like that. Like that's the best.
Yeah,
that was my thought. I was like, what would
mail's the best?
Yeah, everything I do is like, I make the shit I want to see in the world. Like I didn't see a shirt that said ballless and flawless, so
and you got that feeling that you had to do it.
And evidently there's a bunch of other people who also like that shirt. And when it used to be at conventions, like I'd hang that up, and the funnest thing is like watching people walk by and react, and they either go like, "Oh God," or they're like, "That's amazing. Who are you? What is this? Like, I want to know all about it." And it's like,
nice.
Those are the two reactions I'm looking for. It's either this is either for sure not your shit, or this is so your shit. Like,
yeah.
That's kind of the beauty of the internet, right? You can have these niche audiences find each other, and there's enough of them around the world to connect.
And again, it just kind of comes back to music too. Of like, there's records that I found this year that have been out forever, but content is forever.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Adam, you're super cool. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, it was awesome to hear from you here, and you know, obviously we wish you the best in the endeavors that you're in right now. But you know, keep us updated too. We post stuff about guests all the time, and I like to say we're not that proud of who we interview, and then I say, but yes, we are. So thanks for coming on.
Why would you say you're not that proud of the people we interview?
And then I say, oh yes, we are. Who am I kidding? Adam's website, catmanofwestoakland.com. You also have a store, which obviously you don't like to promote that much because you know, but there's amazing stuff
to ride
there.
That line of like, like
I'll promote it for you. It's
Catman. I'm not ashamed. It's Catman.shop.
No, man, this guy's landlord sucks. Go there.
Yeah.
Go there and check that stuff out. Yeah. Come on.
We're as always figuring out great organizations to donate to. So you know, we generally donate our Patreon money. It's been going to Hospitality House SF, which helps individuals with mental health issues as well as people in recovery, and it helps them have useful lives and be part of the community. So we love that. And
I mean, there's in animal welfare, you still you have to care about people. Like you can't just care about animals. Like that. Like the animals are our problem. Like we made the problem. So like we have to take care of each other, and we have to take care of the animals.
Yep. I totally agree. Next couple of shows, we've got Anna Merlin on. She is the writer of Republic of Lies, as well as a writer and editor for Vice Magazine online. We're going to talk about conspiracies. I'm going to try to get her to talk about this new pastel QAnon thing that's going on in the wellness community. Then after that, we're going to be interviewing Maggie Freeling, who does the Unjust and Unsolved podcast, as well, was a producer and host on Latino USA for many years. Both of these women are doing some pretty amazing stuff, so we're super excited to have them on. Your episode will be up in almost 2 weeks.
I think so, yeah.
2 weeks from yesterday. So really appreciate you taking the time to do this, Adam. I know everybody's busy right now in different ways, and an hour out of anyone's life is a big deal. So we want to just say thank you and thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys talking to me.
Yeah.
And listening and taking my rambles.
This was amazing. And thanks for listening, everybody.